Hello, my name's Emma. I'm 35 years old. I never thought I'd ever be a divorcee, but here I am. Today, I want to tell you about how I came to be a divorcee and how the one relationship I was proudest of turned out to be a sham. It's taken a while to heal from it, but I'm in a better place to share my stories, so I figured I'd give it a shot here. My ex-husband David and I met at a friend's party. I remember how he caught my eye with his easy smile and confident demeanor. We started talking and he made me laugh more than I had in a long time. It felt like we had an instant connection. He was charming, attentive, and always seemed to know the right things to say. Our romance moved quickly. We were inseparable and got married within 2 years. In the beginning, everything felt perfect. David was always so interested in my day, wanting to know where I was and who I was with. He said it was because he loved me so much, but sometimes it felt like he was keeping tabs on me. I pushed those feelings aside, thinking it was just his way of showing he cared. David had been married before, to Elaine. From what he told me, their marriage was a nightmare. He said Elaine was difficult, always arguing and never appreciating him. He painted himself as the victim for her unreasonable behavior. He mentioned that she would make him feel worthless and that she was impossible to please. David insisted that Elaine was the problem, and I believed him. He made sure I didn't interact with her much, saying it was for the best and that she was a bad influence. I trusted him and didn't question it. When I married David, I also became stepmother to his daughter, Lily. Lily was only 9 years old when I met her. She was very quiet and reserved and continued to remain that way even into her teenage years. The only times she would get loud was around David when they would fight. I was never around when the fight started, so I never knew what the fights were about. I would ask David about them, but he would dismiss me and just tell me that Lily was being rebellious and problematic, and that she was being a troublemaker just like her mother. But from what I usually see, Lily is a smart and thoughtful girl, although she keeps her distance from both of us. I tried to build a relationship with Lily. I wanted to support her and be there for her, but David's strict and often harsh approach made it difficult. David would often harshly punish Lily, like grounding her, taking away her electronics, and not letting her eat meals, all for disobeying him. I never agreed with any of his punishments, but I had no say in anything. David made it clear that I had no say in how he raised his daughter. Lily and I had a cordial relationship. We were not close, but we respected each other. Despite the challenges, I did my best to be a good stepmother. I encouraged Lily in her studies and tried to be a friend when she needed one. I could tell she appreciated my efforts, even if she didn't always show it. Now, I work in a company that requires quite a bit of traveling. One particular month, I had a business trip planned for a week and had to leave early Monday morning. The night before, Lily came to see me and asked if she could borrow my purse for an event at school. She was going to a debate competition and wanted something nice to carry her notes in. I was happy to help and gave her the purse without a second thought. Lily looked grateful and even a bit excited, which was a rare sight, considering how tense things usually were at home. During the trip, I tried to stay in touch with David and Lily. I called and texted every day, but David rarely answered his phone. When he did, his responses were short and dismissive. He claimed he was busy with work, but it felt like he was avoiding me. I didn't think too much of it at the time, assuming he was just stressed. I managed to speak to Lily once, and she told me the debate went well. She sounded happy, which gave me some comfort. By the time I returned home, the atmosphere in the house was heavy and tense. David was waiting for me in the living room. His expression was stern, and before I could even ask how things were, he dropped a bombshell. Lily's moved out. She's too rebellious and problematic to stay here any longer. What? What do you mean she's moved out? Why? She's been causing trouble, disrespecting me, and breaking the rules. We had a huge argument, and it was the final straw. This doesn't make sense. What exactly did she do that was so bad? She's been sneaking out at night, talking back to me, and refusing to follow any of the house rules. I can't have that kind of behavior under my roof. David, she's a teenager. They make mistakes, and this is their default behavior. You can't just kick her out for that. It wasn't just one mistake. It's been building up for a long time. She needs to learn that actions have consequences. Did you even try to talk to her? Maybe there's a reason she's acting out. We need to understand what's going on with her. I tried talking to her, but she wouldn't listen. She's stubborn, just like her mother. I can't deal with it anymore. That's not fair, David. She's your daughter. You can't just give up on her because things are difficult. What exactly happened in the argument? She started yelling at me, saying I was too strict and that she hated living here. She was out of control. I had to do something. Yelling back and forth isn't going to solve anything. We need to find a way to communicate better. Throwing her out is not the answer. You don't understand. She's been pushing every boundary, testing every limit. It's been a nightmare. She needs to go somewhere she can get a reality check. So where is she now? Did she have somewhere safe to go? She went to stay with a friend. She's fine. She'll learn her lesson and maybe realize how good she had it here. Unless her equally annoying mother picks her up and cuddles her like she always does. This is so wrong. We're supposed to be her parents. We're supposed to help her, not push her away. Can't we try to bring her back and work this out together? This is my daughter we're talking about here. You need to mind your place. You're not her mother. You don't understand how hard it's been dealing with her. I've made my decision. She needs to see the consequences of her actions. Maybe this time apart will make her think about how she's been acting. I don't agree with this at all. I think we're making a huge mistake. She's going to feel abandoned and betrayed by you. How is that going to help her? I'm done discussing it. Lily is out of control, and she needs to learn the hard way. It's better for everyone this way. I don't know, David. I really don't. This just feels so wrong. We should be helping her, not punishing her by making her leave. She needs us now more than ever. You're too soft on her. That's part of the problem. She needs to face reality, and this is the best way for her to do that. She'll be back when she's ready to change. I felt really frustrated and sad. I wanted to be there for Lily, but David would not let me be there for her at all. David's decision was final, and Lily was forced to pack her things and leave. Watching her go was one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. I felt like I was failing her, like I wasn't doing enough to protect her from David's harshness. The house felt emptier without her, and the tension between David and me grew thicker. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing with questions and doubts. What had really happened while I was away? Was Lily really at fault? Or was David manipulating the situation? The more I thought about it, the more I suspected the latter. But David was firm, and confronting him felt impossible. A few days after Lily moved out, I was still feeling upset and confused. I decided to clean the house to take my mind off things. As I was tidying up, I found the purse I had lent to Lily for her debate competition. I hadn't thought about it since she borrowed it. When I opened the purse, I found a small note and a USB drive. The note said, "I should have told you sooner about this video." I felt a rush of confusion and worry. What video? Why didn't she tell me sooner? My heart started to race as I held the USB drive in my hand. I wondered if I should check what was on the USB. Part of me was scared of what I might find. What if it was something terrible? But another part of me needed to know the truth, especially since David wasn't giving me any clear answers about what happened while I was away. I decided to try asking him once again to tell me what had happened between him and Lily that night. How was work today? Oh, it was tiring like it always is. Do you think I could talk to you about something right now, or are you too tired? You can talk, but make it quick. I really want to take a hot shower and just relax after. Well, it's about Lily. I really want to know what happened between you and Lily that night. I feel like I'm in the dark here. It's nothing important, just the same old teenage drama. This isn't just drama. Both of us know it. She moved out. That's a big deal. What exactly did she do that made you so upset? She was being disrespectful as usual, talking back, refusing to listen. You know how she is. But what did she say? What triggered the argument? It doesn't matter. She was just being her rebellious self. It's nothing new. It does matter. She's your daughter. What were you arguing about? We've been over this, Jess. She was just complaining about the rules and saying that I'm too strict. Typical teenage nonsense. That's not nonsense. If she feels that way, we should talk about it. Did you listen to what she was trying to say? There's nothing to listen to. She just wants to do whatever she wants without any consequences. So you didn't even try to understand her perspective? Maybe there's something deeper going on. You're overthinking this. She's just acting out. It's what teenagers do. Acting out for a reason. Did she mention anything specific that was bothering her? She didn't mention anything new, just the same complaints about rules and discipline. And honestly, I've done everything to provide that ungrateful brat with food, clothing, and shelter. So she literally has no reason to act the way she always does. Do you think kicking her out is the best solution? That seems extreme and counterintuitive. She needs to learn that actions have consequences. Maybe some time away will make her appreciate what she has here. Or it could push her further away. Did you even consider how this would affect her? She's a smart girl. She'll figure it out. She needs to face reality. This isn't about facing reality. It's about feeling supported and understood. Did you offer her any support? She doesn't want support. She wants freedom to do whatever she wants. As long as she's under my roof, I can't allow that. But there has to be a middle ground. We can't just abandon her like that. She chose to leave. I didn't force her out. She'll come back when she's ready to follow the rules. Did she really choose to leave, or did you make her feel like she had no other option? She made her choice. I'm not going to keep begging her to follow simple rules. This isn't about begging. It's about being a good parent. You need to guide her, not push her away. I've done my part. If she doesn't want to listen, that's on her. I don't agree with this. We should be trying to bring her back, not pushing her out. Well, you're not her mother, Jessica. This is my decision and it's final. I don't want to talk about this again, and now, if you'll excuse me, I have to take a shower now. David still hadn't answered my question truthfully. He skillfully avoided talking about what actually happened in the argument and the events that led to it, and whatever he told me was also not true. The Lily I had been around would never raise her voice or even talk to anybody disrespectfully. Things were simply not adding up in my mind. I don't know why, but for the first time, I actually started thinking about all the shady ways that David had behaved. Once that seed had been planted, I couldn't get rid of the urge to look into the USB. So I waited for David to fall asleep before I plugged the USB into my laptop. There were multiple files, so I went through all of them. What I saw made my stomach drop. There were several video clips, all dated from the week I was on my business trip, and some a little before. The first video showed David yelling at Lily, accusing her of things she clearly hadn't done. He was harsh and cruel, his face twisted with anger. Lily looked scared and tried to defend herself, but David wouldn't listen. The next videos were even worse. They showed David setting up situations to make Lily look bad, like planting broken items in her room and then blaming her for them. It was clear he was manipulating everything to turn me against her. I felt a mix of anger and sadness watching these clips. Then came the most shocking parts. One of the videos showed David with another woman in our home, acting in ways that were undeniably intimate. My heart ached with the betrayal. I felt sick, tears streaming down my face as I watched. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. This wasn't the David I thought I knew. How could he do this to Lily? How could he do this to me? My mind was a whirlwind of emotions, hurt, anger, and disbelief. I felt like my whole world was falling apart. Everything I thought was true about our relationship was a lie. Seeing those videos changed everything. I knew I had to make him pay. I couldn't believe I had fallen for his lies. I decided to plan my revenge carefully. First, I hired a smart attorney named Lisa. She helped me gather more evidence of David's abuse and cheating. We started by looking through all our emails and text messages. We found many instances where David was mean and manipulative. There were messages where he blamed me for things that weren't my fault, and others where he tried to control my actions and decisions. We printed out all those messages and added them to our growing file of evidence. Next, Lisa suggested we talk to people who might have seen David's behavior firsthand. We interviewed some of our close friends and even some of David's colleagues. Many of them shared stories of David's temper and his controlling nature. Some of his colleagues mentioned how David often spoke badly about me and even flirted with other women at work. We wrote down their statements and had them sign affidavits to make their testimonies official. We also went through our financial records. David had always insisted on handling our finances, but I had access to our bank statements and credit card bills. We found several charges that didn't make sense, like expensive dinners and hotel stays that didn't match with any trips or events I knew about. This helped us build a case for infidelity. Then we looked at our home security system. David had installed cameras around the house, and I remembered he had shown me how to access the footage. Lisa and I spent hours going through the videos, looking for any evidence of his abusive behavior. We found several clips where David was yelling at Lily and me, trying to manipulate us. These videos were crucial because they showed his true colors in our home. Lisa also recommended we hire a private investigator. The investigator was able to track down more information about David's activities when I wasn't around. They followed him for a few weeks and captured photos of him meeting other women, confirming his unfaithfulness. The investigator even managed to get a recording of David bragging to a friend about how he controlled me and manipulated situations to his advantage. We compiled all this evidence, the emails, text messages, witness statements, financial records, video clips, and the investigator's findings into a comprehensive file. Lisa made sure everything was organized and easy to understand so the judge could see the full picture of who David really was. Next, I made copies of the video and sent them anonymously to David's boss and some of our friends. David worked at a big company and his boss was very strict about morals and ethics. When his boss saw the video, he was horrified. It showed David being mean to Lily, lying to me and cheating on me while I was away on a business trip. The company couldn't keep someone like David, so they fired him right away. It was a huge scandal. Everyone at work talked about it, and David's reputation was ruined. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to make sure everyone knew who David really was. I contacted Elaine, David's ex-wife. I had always wondered about their divorce because I highly doubted that David had told me about their marriage. I asked Lily to help me get Elaine's contact, and she happily gave me Elaine's number. I set up a call with Elaine for the next day, and truth be told, I was nervous but excited at the same time the next day. Hi Elaine, thank you for agreeing to talk to me. I've always wondered about your divorce from David. He told me you were the problem, but I highly doubt that's the case. I'm glad you reached out, Jessica. David was very controlling and manipulative. He made me feel like everything was my fault. Those 7 years of my life were the absolute worst. He did the same to me and Lily. He treated Lily terribly, and when I was away, he set her up to make her look bad. Then he cheated on me in our own home. How did you deal with him for so long? That sounds exactly like him. He was always trying to control everything and everyone. It was hard to deal with him. I tried to make it work, but he kept pushing me down. He isolated me from friends and family. I felt trapped. That's why I finally left, but I couldn't fully protect Lily from him. I've always wondered why you didn't do anything before. Didn't you know that he was hurting Lily too? I didn't know the extent of it, Jessica. When we divorced, he had full custody of Lily. He made sure I couldn't get close. I tried to fight for her, but he had too much control. I thought maybe if I stayed away, he would leave her alone. Yeah, I see how you could feel that way, but we need to do something now. David can't keep getting away with this. I have evidence of David mistreating Lily, which I'm sure will get his custody taken away. So you have a chance to fight for it. He doesn't have a job either, so you'll definitely be granted custody of her. Oh my God, you're an angel. How did you even manage to do all of this? Trust me, it wasn't easy, but I also hated the way David treated Lily and me so much that I had to make sure he never had a good life after I was done with him. You're amazing. You know that, right? You know what? I'm going to also help out. I have many connections through my work. We can make sure David never finds a job again. It's time he faced the consequences. That's a great idea. This will only make sure that he struggles even more. I'll start reaching out to my contacts. We'll make sure everyone knows the truth about David. He won't be able to escape this time. Thank you so much for helping out. Please don't thank me. This is the best I could have done. I feel horrible that I couldn't have helped Lily earlier, so this is my way of making up for it. I'm sure she'll appreciate it a lot. It's been really nice talking to you. Take care of yourself and keep me updated. Will do. I was grateful that Elaine was helping me out. All that was left was to fight the divorce, which David decided to make the most difficult thing in the world after I handed him the divorce papers. At first, he tried to deny his affair until he saw the video evidence I had of it. The legal battle was tough, but with Lisa's help, I won. The judge saw all the evidence of David's abuse and infidelity and ruled in my favor. I got most of our shared assets, which left David with almost nothing. He had no job, no reputation, and hardly any money. Winning the divorce was a mix of relief and sadness for me. I felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders knowing that I was finally free from David's lies and control. The court saw the truth, and that gave me a sense of justice and peace. I felt proud of myself for standing up for what was right, for Lily and me. But there was also sadness. I had once loved David, and it was painful to see our relationship end this way. The betrayal and hurt was still fresh, and it would take time to heal. I thought about Lily and how she would find her own path to healing. David faced severe consequences for his actions. After the video and all the evidence came out, people saw him for who he really was. His friends and colleagues cut ties with him. They didn't want to be associated with someone who was so mean and dishonest. He became socially isolated and had no one to turn to. Financially, too, David was in big trouble. Without a job and a damaged reputation, he struggled to find new work. Companies didn't want to hire someone with such a bad history. He couldn't pay his bills, and soon he had to sell his car and move to a smaller place. His lifestyle changed dramatically, and he was left with very little. Meanwhile, Lily flourished. Away from her father's oppressive grip, she finally felt free. She moved in with her mom, Elaine, who welcomed her with open arms. Lily started doing better in school and made new friends. She seemed happier and more confident every time I saw her. Lily and I grew much closer through this ordeal. We found comfort and support in each other. We often talked about our experiences with David and how we were moving forward. It felt good to have someone who truly understood what I had been through. We even started doing fun activities together, like going to the movies and trying a new restaurant. All of that did not ease the sorrow that I was feeling in me. I sat with my sorrow for a while. I learned to live with it. David, however, was consumed with rage. He'd constantly call and text me, but I ignored him. Well, for however long I could, eventually his calls got too frequent and I was itching with curiosity. I needed to know what he had to say. So, what do you want, David? I don't have time for your nonsense. So, could you quit calling me over and over again? You've ruined my life. You ruined your own life. All I did was show everyone the truth. You lied. You cheated and you hurt the people who cared about you. You have no one to blame but yourself. What are you talking about? You had no right to do that. I had every right. You treated Lily horribly. You pushed her out of the house and made her feel worthless, and then you cheated on me in your own company. How could you do that? That's none of your business. You don't understand what I was going through. It became my business the moment you lied and betrayed me. You hurt Lily and you hurt me. Did you really think I would just stand by and let you get away with it? I was doing what I thought was best. Lily needed to learn some discipline. And as for the other woman, that was a mistake. A mistake? You brought her into our home. David, that's not a mistake, that's a choice. You tried to betray me and you chose to treat Lily like she was the problem, when the real problem was you. You don't know what you're talking about. Lily was out of control and I had to do something. Out of control? She was crying out for help and you ignored her. You blamed her for everything to cover up your own failings. You set her up to make her look bad. How could you do that with your own daughter? She was making my life difficult. I had to get some control back. Control? You lost control the moment you started lying and cheating. You can't control people by hurting them. That's not how love works. You'll regret this. You'll see. You had no right to expose me like that. I had every right to protect Lily and myself. We deserve to know the truth, and now everyone also knows the truth about you. You think you're so righteous, don't you? You'll pay for this, Jessica. I won't let you get away with it. There's nothing to get away with. I did what was right. You need to face the consequences of your actions. Maybe now you'll understand what it feels like to be hurt and betrayed. This isn't over. I'll make sure you regret this. Do whatever you want. You brought this on yourself. The truth is out, and you can't hide from it anymore. You'll be sorry, mark my words. I'm not the one who should be sorry. You are. You owe Lily and me an apology, but I'm not holding my breath. Goodbye, David. You'll regret this, Jessica. You'll see. No, David, you're the one who will regret what you've done. Now leave. I knew I could never regret what I did. In fact, I felt stronger and more empowered than ever. I had taken control of my life and made sure David faced the consequences of his actions. David struggled to find work for a very long time until he eventually landed a minimum wage job to make ends meet. I only know about it because he made multiple Facebook posts tagging me and calling me a jerk. It honestly made me laugh because every time he tried to rebuild his life, The scandal followed him, reminding him of his mistakes. David's downfall was a constant reminder that actions have consequences. He was left to face the repercussions of his behavior. Every time he tried to rebuild his life, his past mistakes haunted him. He was living in the shadows of his own actions, unable to escape the truth. In the end, David was left with nothing but regret. Meanwhile, Lily and I look forward to a brighter future. We reclaimed our lives and found happiness and stability. It is the beginning of a new chapter, one that promises hope and joy, free from the toxicity of the past.